everybody. Welcome in. It's Friday, November 6th. This is Linda Sullivan. There's Carl Sullivan over at the controls. We're Colourwerx Designs. We're coming to you from the beautiful Colourwerx Design House here in Palm Desert, California. And this is... That's right, it's Fab Friday. It's episode number 21, if you can believe it. And again, it's Friday, November 6th. We're so happy to have everybody here. Let's see who's checking in from where, Carl. I see lots of people checking in, and we really appreciate that. Pat, good morning. Hello from North Carolina. And who else? Susan. Hello from Georgia. Woo! Now let us know if everything is streaming okay. The internet was being just a tad grumpy this morning, and we've got some internet gremlins going on, so we'd love to hear in the comments if everything is coming to you loud and clear. We're also going to get to our tutorial in just a minute. This is the Strippy Christmas tree tutorial. This is what I did with my Strippy Christmas trees, but we're going to get to that in just a minute. So please like and share this video. Make sure that you tell your friends about us. Make sure you are also a subscriber to our Colourwerx YouTube channel so you don't miss any tutorials that go up there or any replays of the Fab Friday episode. We really appreciate your support. Wow, what is going on with the comments? Carl, we have lots of people checking in. Nancy and Lynn from New Mexico. Good morning, everybody. Who else? Diane Schultz from Pinehurst. Hello. It's so great to have you guys here.
Margaret, clear
and
loud.
Margaret from Idaho, clear and loud. Thank you very much. We did a test and we weren't sure. So I always like to check with you guys to make sure that we're coming through loud and clear and that you're not getting any internet gremlins on your side or ours. So the quilt behind me is the color bug quilt, just in case you were wondering what is sitting behind me on the design wall today. This is Color Bugs, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute too. But first, let's check in with our cactus cam. The golf course is open. This is opening day of the golf course. Oh, look, we've got some clouds going on, and look, we have golfers arriving at hole number 15. Very exciting. We haven't seen anybody golfing out there for quite some time.
They don't look that sprite yet.
No, they look, they're
one.
moving just a little slow. We don't have that camera in slow motion, but that is actual movement out there in the golf course. So, oh, okay, we don't want to disturb them. So let's get right on to the show here. We want to award the $10 Colourwerx gift card from last week. Now, the question last week was, because we did our super spooky Halloween episode, and that's episode number 20, in case anybody wants to go back and look at that on our YouTube channel or here on the Colourwerx Facebook page. But last week's question was, what is your favorite Halloween candy? And so the winner, randomly picked, is Mary Harlow. Congratulations. You are the winner of this week's $10 Colourwerx gift card. We'll get that to you via the email. And then everybody stay tuned for this week's questions. But as I always say, anybody who comments, all you guys who are commenting now, everybody goes into the big, huge, random thingamajizer anyway. So we appreciate everybody's feedback and all the comments that are going on. Again, anybody else checking in from where before we move on
Teddy
to
from
big
Ventura.
announcement? Hello, Teddy. Thank you.
Susan says we're loud and clear in France.
Oh, that is good to know, Susan. Thank you for letting us know. And hello in France. I'm always jealous when you check in. I'm thinking, woo, what a life. That must be beautiful. Okay, let's move on. I see Nedra just checked in. Hello, Nedra. Okay, I just want to do a couple announcements. So if you go over to the Colourwerx blog today, you're going to see the Just My Type blog post. Now, this is a new collection from Island Boutiques from our designer friend Tammy of Tamarini's. She's a multi-talented designer. She's a fabric designer, a quilt teacher, a pattern designer. She does super cool modern pattern designs. And so she asked all her friends at Island Boutiques to do a special blog hop with her where we all digitally rendered some of our patterns in her new collection, which is just there on the screen. You can see it. Her new collection is called Just My Type. It's a super cute, kind of vintage-oriented batik collection with lots of typewriter keys and coffee cups, and it's in beautiful colors of turquoise and teal and chartreuse and deep greens and some blacks. And so if you like that, go ask your quilt shops to order it for her. But if also go check out my blog post on the Colourwerx blog, because you'll see our all stacked up quilt rendered there, but you'll also see about 10 other designers pages that you can go hop to and look at what they did with her collection. And then you get to meet new designers, quite frankly, as well, and see what they have to offer in their pattern selection. So go check that out. The other comment is, the other news is Road to California, of course, is going virtually. And so Road at Home classes are open for registration. You can go check them out right there at roadathome.com or go to roadtocalifornia.com. I'm teaching 2 classes there, Cosmos and Color Bugs and Curves, which you see behind me. So if you've ever wanted to take a class with me, now's your chance, because Road at Home is going virtually. And so go check that out. There's a slew of other teachers up there as well. So it's a wonderful, wonderful group of faculty that are going on for the Road at Home virtual show. Let's get right on, unless Carl has anything else to say. Anna's checking in. Kelly's checking in. Beth is checking in. Let's go right on to the tutorial of the Strippy Christmas trees. So if you look in the description of this video, meaning where it says, what's going on with this video, it's either right above me or right above me or right below me. You'll see a link, and there's a link to get the Strippy Christmas tree pattern. That's a free pattern that I'm offering you. So it's the full pattern. If Carl brings up the slideshow now, I'll show you. There it is. So there is the full quilt that I made, and that's the pattern cover, and that's what you'll see when you go to get the link. You download the pattern. It's a PDF version, and it has the little shape that we're going to talk about here where I made my placemats. So the pattern is free. Make sure you check the description of this video after you're done watching and download that pattern, and you can tell all your friends and you can share it because it's a free pattern. So what did I do? If we go to the next slide, to make my placemats, I gathered a bunch of green fabrics. These are all Island Batik fabrics. I actually gathered 2 fat quarters to do the front of my placemat and the back of my placemat. And then I added some red for the binding, and I put a little touch of yellow in that picture so that you can, if you wanted to, make a star to go on your Christmas tree or anything like that. And you'll notice in the pattern that there's some garland going, like a dotted line that kind of actually symbolizes garland across the tree. You could use a decorative stitch. We're going to talk about that kind of in a minute. Go to the next slide, and you'll see the first thing I did to make this placemat. Now, with this pattern, you can make placemats with it. You could make a table runner with it. You could make pillows for your couch for Christmas with it. You could use it as a gift, or you can make the whole quilt. So that's the great thing about having the whole free pattern. But to make the placemat, you might want to take notes here, because this is not in the pattern. The pattern includes all the directions to make the full quilt, but you use your imagination with the pattern shape. So I basically fused the front of my placemat fabric to the back of my placemat fabric, and I put a piece of batting in there as well. So that's all fused together. And then if we go to the next slide, I chose some beautiful variegated thread, which is King Tut. I then started matchstick quilting 1/4 inch apart, and the next slide shows you kind of when it's done. Of course, when you do matchstick quilting, you want to leave a lot of time for this. It's not as fast as it looks. Everybody always, every time I start one of these projects, I think, oh, this will take me like 5 minutes. And it actually takes, that took a good hour to do one placemat. And I forgot to mention, if you're doing placemats, you know what? The measurement on a placemat is your average measurement for any placemat. It's basically 13 by 17. So that's what you shoot for. But if you have placemats in your home, just go ahead and grab one and measure that. Sometimes you like to make them bigger or smaller, that kind of thing. Next slide shows you then, I gathered my strips, and I'm going to show you now on the overhead how to wonky piece these strips together so that you can cut shapes from them. And particularly today, we're going to talk about cutting the Christmas tree shape. So we're going to go to the overhead, and I'm going to show you how to put these wonky Christmas tree shapes together. Carl, we have to go to the overhead. There we go. Great. Okay, I'm moving over to the overhead here. So here we've got it, and this is the last page of the pattern. So this is the shape I'm talking about. This is, of course, template B here is the trunk of the Christmas tree. And it just gets slipped underneath this shape here. And then this is that garland I was talking about that I gave you in the pattern. So if you look at the Tipsy Tree front cover, you'll notice that I actually stitched with a decorative stitch this in and then added buttons all over the quilt. But that is what you're going to get. So I'm going to show you right now how to make this unit right here, which is wonky strip piecing. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you gather together your strips, and these are basically scrap strips. So basically I just cut 2.5 inch wide by 18 inches long. And if you have strips that are like less wide than this, let's say they're 1 inches wide, maybe they're 2 inches wide, 3 inches wide, all of that works. It just depends on what you want to do. Now, if you have a bunch of orphan jelly rolls, that works too. And so what I'm going to do to start with this is I'm actually just putting the strips out in a pleasing manner on my cutting board. Whatever way you want to put them works. There's no right or wrong here. It's whatever works for you. I try to disperse the darks from the lights and all that stuff. So to get started here, I'm going to actually take these bottom 2 strips, and I'm going to actually just flip over, and let me move these out of the way. I'm going to actually take my bottom 2 strips and kind of flip wonky, slant it, and then flip it over right sides together. With batiks, you know, of course, there's no right or wrong side. So you can see I'm angling this quite extreme from the top left down to the bottom right. So can you see that? It's a very steep angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually stitch along this top strip a 1/4 inch seam. It could even be just the edge of your presser foot. You don't have to be exact. And so we're going to stitch along that, and it's going to create a wonky stripped piece thing. So I have 2 together here, and you can see that this is stitched together here, and then I would cut off this top edge here. So I want to do that first and cut off, let me grab my ruler, that excess fabric, because that will just create bulk, and I don't really need more bulk behind my applique. So now I have trimmed that top edge away. I would go over to the ironing board and I would press this upward, if that makes sense. And you can see now I've got this kind of wonky piece. So I just take my 3rd strip now, and if you can see that this piece here, the 2nd strip, is angling from right to down left. So I want to alternate the angle when I place the 3rd strip. So instead of angling the same way, I'm going to angle the opposite way, which means I'm going to make it go from up left to down right, if that makes sense. So I'm angling it. And you can audition this to whatever extreme angle you want. And when you get ready, you just flip it over, right sides together again, and do exactly the same thing. Stitch along the top strip here, cut away the excess. And you keep creating strip upon strip until you get something that looks like this. And this is just alternating angles from right to left. That's wonky strip piecing. And of course the pattern has this in it as well. So now to make my Christmas trees, I take my pattern, I take some fusible web, any fusible web, and I just draw this shape basically. And then what I'm going to do, and I've got it right back here already set up, is I just fuse these shapes onto the back of my wonky strip piecing shape. And you can probably get anywhere from 2 to 3 depending on trees on the back of this, depending on how long you make your strips. I like to keep these strips no more than 18 inches long, because you don't get the extreme wonkiness then when they get longer. So if you try to do this with anything that's like 30 inches long or 40 inches long, like with the fabric strips, you're not going to get that wonkiness. It's going to be really unwieldy. So cut your strips in half, make them about 22 inches long or 18 inches long, or the side, you know, fat quarters work perfectly. Once you get these fused on with a hot iron, you just simply cut them out and you get little trees like this. And then you would cut out your little trunk. And so what I did on the pattern, when you download the pattern, they're just simply placed on 10 by 10 inch background blocks. and they're just tipped like that. That's why it's called tipsy trees, right? So they're tipped from side to side in the corner of the background square. What I did is I just took my placemat that I made, and I just put it off to one side, which I think looks nice. And let's say I have a fork here or the placemat, place setting ready to go. Then it's ready to go, and I've got placemats. This makes a great gift. You can put this tree wherever you want it. You could put 2 trees on here if you wanted to. You could reduce this triangle. It's a simple triangle shape, so you could reduce it. That's another idea. And make smaller little trees here and make a little forest if you wanted to. You could do a whole table runner, meaning just take one whole piece of fabric, the length of your table, maybe 40, 50 inches long like this. Go ahead and do your machine quilting through the batting and the backing fabric like I did here. And then go ahead and add your applique trees on. And I just appliqued right through, can you see that? Right through to the back fabric. So that is what I did with the Strippy Christmas trees. So again, make sure you download the pattern that's in the description of this video. If you have any questions, go ahead now and put them up there in the comments. I'm going to make my way back over to my table across the room to get in place. Oh, so there you go. That is Strippy Christmas trees. I hope you enjoyed that. There should be a link. I know Nancy just said I can't seem to find the pattern. If you go to the, I believe, the description of this video, I will check right after we get off the air. But there should be in the description of this video a link to the Strippy Christmas tree pattern. If not, it will be there momentarily. I put it there last night, but maybe we have internet gremlins again going on. So please check back, and I will make sure that it's there, but it should be there when I checked last. So anyway, any questions on the tutorial, you guys? Let's see. Lynn says, cute. Thank you, Lynn. I think it's cute. It was a magazine design we did for Quick Quilts. I think several, probably 15 years ago. And let's see who else. Kelly said, can't wait to make this. Nice. Thank you very much. Well, let's talk about what the question of the week is. So the question of the week, because we are approaching holiday Christmas here, is this is the question for, what is your favorite holiday song? I love to, find new songs. So I don't think we have a favorite holiday song, do we, Carl?
No.
No.
I like White Christmas.
White Christmas.
Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby. That's Carl's favorite holiday song. So we'd love to know what you guys think. So let's see, Joe. What did Joe say there? Oh, Susan says it is there, the link. But I will double check, everybody. I want to make sure. Again, this morning has been filled with lots of internet gremlins. And of course, the internet traffic is very clogged up with the election and election results coming in and everybody chattering. So it could be that internet gremlins are out, basically. And Joe says, your instructions are very clear. Thank you, Joe, very much. Thank you. And Teddy, I've been looking for a Christmas quilt pattern. What cutting mat do you use? Oh, that cutting mat, if Carl wants to go to the overhead again, show that cutting mat. I love the color of this cutting mat. So this is, I have to go over and make sure I got the name right. It's dark blue, in case anybody can't see that, and it's a Olfa, O-L-F-A. Olfa, 24-inch by 36-inch, huge cutting mat. It is wonderful, and I love the dark blue color because, years of quilting, all we had was green, and I'm kind of tired of green. Anyway, I do want to, before we say goodbye today, give you an update on the kitchen remodel and a recap of the week here. Carl has been working very hard. He's been channeling his DIY, his I don't know, his home improvement, stuff going on. He's very good. He's been working like a dog. So let's go to that slideshow for a minute. Here's day one. So this is all Carl, basically. I came in and did some search and destroy on the countertop a little bit, and I got to break things up to go in the dumpster, but he did all this. So day one was taking all the wall cabinets down, and he was really making you were making pretty good pace, I think.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden we got to the countertop, and he found this incredibly, I don't know, strange way of doing tile where they actually laid down a couple pieces of board and then they put a layer of concrete, if you can believe it, and chicken wire down. And then they put the kitchen tile countertop on top of that. So that was day one, which kind of did a stop. So he had to figure out how to attack that. And that's what you see in the picture there. So if we go to day two, he figured out how to attack it. He got one side of the whole kitchen done. And then we got to the kitchen sink area, which we thought was going to be super easy because it was just kind of an island there. And so he's attacking it. He's getting there. We go to turn off the water to remove the sink. And if we go to the next slide, you'll see, no, the water would not turn off. Not at all. So we had this bucket, and I was on water duty, unfilling the bucket, emptying the bucket, replacing the bucket, while we clamped off these the hot and cold valves there. You can see it clamped off, and it's just the joys of remodeling. It's horrible. And then he had to run to Lowe's and get some caps, and we had to turn off the water to the whole house. And we finally got it capped off. It wasn't a huge deal, but you can also see in that picture a close-up of that layer of concrete underneath the tile. I mean, what a mess. It was just silly. And of course, the dumpster people won't take concrete in the dumpster. So we have to figure out how to get rid of 3 totes of concrete now. But we'll figure it out. Okay, so next is day 3. Day 3, he gets rid of, oh, joy. He gets rid of the sink. And so we have to have a tile guy come in and fill in that tile before we put in the hardwood. It's not hardwood, it's vinyl planking that looks like hardwood. It's waterproof. It's going to be very nice when we get it done. But so the kitchen is now demolished, and of course they also liquid nail, if anybody knows that, it's like an epoxy. They liquid nailed everything to the walls. So when we took the tile out in the backsplash, that's what we were left with, as you can see it in that picture. So day 4, which was yesterday, was demolish day and into the dumpster day. So there's what we were left with. That's the entire kitchen sitting in the dumpster now, which is ready to be picked up on Monday. Of course, we're teaching today. We're going to go visit some guilds tonight, and we're going to be teaching tomorrow via Zoom, virtually visiting a guild, which is the Almond Country Quilt Guild up in Northern California. So we are going to be out of the kitchen, really not doing anything until maybe Sunday or Monday again. And of course, we have our table set up with our coffee maker, and it's like camping. It's just, we just you just relax into it. And you say, okay, it's going to be this way for 2 months. But that's the update on the kitchen remodel. We're going to keep you guys updated week to week as we go through. Let's check out the cactus cam and see what's going on before we say goodbye. Oh, it's getting very cloudy out there. Wow. Look at that. You can barely see anything. It's gotten very dark.
I think they missed the green with their
balls.
I don't think they're quite close enough yet.
Yes. It's opening day. Storm clouds look like they're brewing out here, which would be nice. That would be most welcome to get rid of the dust. There's been a lot of dust and desert dust and things like that. So anyway, the question of the week, what's your favorite holiday song? That is our show for today. We thank you guys so much for joining in. Make sure you download the pattern to Strippy Christmas trees there. It should be in the description right above or below me, depending on if you're watching this video on Facebook or on the Colourwerx YouTube channel. Next week, Friday, is it really November 13th? Friday, November 13th. I can't believe that date. Carl's returning with a new tutorial. He's going to show you some gadgets he's picked up at some of the art museums that help you design different kinds of quilt blocks. So he's going to show you some of these gadgets, and he's going to show you what he does with them to come up with different kinds of quilt blocks, and then how he transcribes that into graph paper to actually make a new and unique quilt block. So that is next week's tutorial, which is same time, same channel, right here. We love you guys very much for checking in with us. We hope you enjoyed today. Go out and be wonky, strip piece everything together. Make some strippy Christmas trees for gifts or for decor for your holiday Thanksgiving.
Send us photographs.
And send us photographs, of course. We'll be here all week with the kitchen and also doing we have super secret sewing going on with Island Boutiques right now and some great projects coming up with them that we can't divulge quite yet, but we'll divulge near the end of the year just to give you a little tidbit of what's coming up. And go check out my blog for Tamarini's new collection called Just My Type. Go ask your quilt shops to order that. And thank you guys so much. We love you guys. Have a happy, Colourwerx weekend sewing. Relax, be safe, be sane, and we'll see you next week for our next Fab Friday episode. Bye-bye.